Howdy partner, you are listening to New Sounds Union, the podcast which speaks to some of the finest emerging musical artists around. Welcome back, and welcome, perhaps, for the first time, depending on your listening history. We have an absolute treat this episode, an interview with rising singer-songwriter and champion of the music scene, Tom Bright. But first, it's time to pick a couple of tracks from the New Sounds Union Substack and give them another spin. We begin with Tooth Gore and I Hate My Collarbones. I must admit, if I think about collarbones too much, they do kind of freak me out. But this, nonetheless, is a fantastic slice of fuzzy, slacker pop punk. Don't just take my word for it though. Let's give it a spin now.
My citrus burned and prayed. Then I hate my collarbones with a brand new body or a brand new soul. Ain't gonna fix all the shit that I hate in my hot brain. Crack my ribcage.
Our second pick for the month is Thurston's Nightmare by Big Other, which is a relentless shot of fascinating, scrappy indie rock. You can also read an interview with Big Other on the New Sounds Union Substack, so do head over there to enjoy. Here it is. If you like the sound of those, you'll find plenty more recommendations at newsoundsunion.substack.com. And you can also subscribe for free to get weekly emails delivered directly to your inbox. Okay, the lights have dimmed. It's time for the headline act, and our interview with Tom Bright. One of the hardest working people in music, Tom released his fourth full-length record earlier this year entitled Young Old Bloke, which was in fact a collection of older songs, as the title does suggest. So we'll chat all about that, as well as his relentless touring and his support for grassroots music as part of his Bright Nights. First up though, let's listen to a little bit of My Church taken from the new record.
I wanna live by my own rules. I want to be free. Don't wanna suffer these fools. I want to be me in my church, in my religion, in my church, in my religion.
So Tom, hello. Welcome to New Sounds Union, the podcast. How you doing?
All right, it's Tim and Tom. I like it.
It's got a nice ring to it, I won't lie. Oh, and there's a guitar on the wall. I didn't notice that a second ago as well. Very nice.
Yeah, it's I barely play that one. It's my Gretsch.
What are you?
Play it a lot more, to be honest.
Predominantly acoustic when you play live, aren't you? So.
Yeah, I've got a my Takamine as well, which again I don't play this a great deal. I'm just so attached to my weapon that I so oftenly sling.
Yeah, well, you get comfortable, and also, if a guitar is good to you in terms of the sound or the songs maybe that you've written on it, then you kind of want to stick with that.
It's the place I've been with it.
Lovely. The stories it could tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously you do have a lot of stories you could tell, but we'll have to start somewhere. I mean, your first record did come out in 2020, Self-Service Checkout, but the story doesn't really begin there either. So I suppose, first of all, quite a broad question. What were some of the artists that initially inspired you to get into music? And then when did you first begin creating music yourself?
Oh, well, I think in terms of an introduction to music, because I'm not from a I'm not from a musical family whatsoever. From a military and nursing background. My mum, a nurse, 46 years, 10 of those years in the army. My dad, 22 years in the army, and there's literally absolutely zero musicality in my family line. And then, but my first introductions to music were going around to my grandma's on a Sunday, and she'd always have the radio, the wireless on, and it'd be Frank Sinatra or Sammy Davis Jr. or Dean Martin or someone blasting out. And I kind of, the first music that I fell in love with was that whole crooner world, the Showman, and Bobby Darin became my idol actually. And so yeah, I think a lot of that is still strangely in my indie singer songwriter way. A lot of that showmanship in me. In terms of actually starting my musical journey, I was really late. I was 22 when I picked up a guitar. Yeah, I was towards the end of my pub landlord days.
Oh yeah, the youngest pub landlord in the UK. That's correct?
When I was 18, yeah.
Nice.
And just under 5 years as a pub landlord, and then just felt head over heels obsessed with the guitar towards the end of our tenure, and I just decided that I wanted to dedicate my life to that. So, really long story short, because this podcast will be about 6 hours long if we're not careful. Sold the pub, moved to Australia on a one-way ticket, picked up a guitar for $50, and I started music there. I was working multiple cafe restaurant jobs and jobbing around doors and playing my first gigs and busking and stuff. And yeah, it was a huge transition in my life, going from pub landlord in a little village in Derbyshire to being a busker in Sydney, really, who was making coffee.
And then I presume since you're gigging quite a lot at the moment, I presume you haven't gone back to Australia to gig yet.
Not yet, but it's definitely going to happen. It'll be great when it does, because like I say, it all started for me out there. I was out there for just under a year, and I was living I couldn't have been further away from home. I was in Tasmania. It was stunning. It was incredible. And I'm working in this restaurant called Smolt in Hobart, right on the water. And in walk Mumford and Sons and the support act, Edward Sharp and the Magnetic Zeros and Willie Mason. And and me and Mumford and Sons, we ended up having a great crack, couple of nights together. They took me to their gig in Hobart, listened to all my demos, and convinced me to move to London. And Nick, the trumpet player, we went to the same school in Derbyshire. He's since played trumpet for me twice at Glasgow and on my third album, On Remarkable Things. So yeah, it's a cracker's full circle thing.
Yeah, and were those initial connections really quite helpful when you did move back to London in terms of growing your kind of music connections, as it were?
It was initial encouragement, and then I've been here for 13 years now, and when I touched down fresh off the National Express, it was just got me job working at the English restaurant in Spitalfields, and I just kind of made my own way. Really, I was doing as many showcases and open mics as I could. I was 5, 6 a week, 7 nights sometimes, and I was very fortunate. I met a lot of I met a lot of my heroes in the restaurant that I was working in. Within the first few weeks, I'd met Alex Turner, Paolo Nutini, Noel Gallagher, um, uh, Johnny Marr. He signed my guitar. Yeah, it was all a bit mad, and then ended up becoming mates with a fella called Mel who sold hats on the market. But when he was not selling hats, he was a drummer and he drummed in a band for Mick Jones from The Clash. And he ended up introducing me to Mick, and then that was the start of actually everything, really.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Well, I suppose that brings us slightly confusingly to your new record, Young Old Bloke, which is very much an old record, because you did record that with Mick Jones back in the day.
Album.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell us a bit about the process of that one, and then I suppose, if you can, the reason we've only just heard it now, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, the process of that was, I mean, the way it happened was I get introduced to Mick. I start knocking around the East Studio. He had this big community called the Rotten Hill Gang, and it was just a bunch of like rock and roll royalty all knocking out, trying to make this TV show. There was Julian Temple directing it, Glenn Matlock from Sex Pistols, Don Letts, list is endless of people that I was like hanging out with, all slick, and it was crackers. And they wanted me to do a cover of Ooh La La by The Faces, with Glenn Matlock, Sex Pistol on bass, and we shot it all in a boxing ring set up outside Mick's studio, which was in North Acton. It was crackers. It was the most surreal moments, and then from there, Mick was exhibiting all these like touring findings. He calls it the Rock and Roll Public Library, and he was exhibiting it in the Biennale in Venice in Vivaldi's courtyard, and he flew me out there, got me to open up with a set, and then we ended up performing together. We did Volare together, which was surreal. And then that was like 2015, and I come back, and then started making this record, and it was always intended to be my first album. And it was like 2016. Made this record with Glenn Matlock on bass, and I mean it's a proper rock and roll record. And then I got some guys. This is actually just a very kind of important musical lesson. I'm there living my dreams, lad from a little village in Derbyshire, working with Mr. London Calling on his debut album, and I had some guys, managers looking after me, and the wheels fell off. Basically, I'd done the album before I'd even met them, but I put the mixing duties in their hands, and they set up a label, and they started scheduling all these singles, and basically I'd unknowingly given these recordings to them, and the single was meant to come out. It never came out. I had this like single release party, so I did the gig, but the single hadn't actually come out. It was mental. And anyway, obviously I was livid, and I was like, what the hell happened? And so there's a massive breakdown in our relationship, and I lost that record. And to be honest, I lost love for all of it, really. I just kind of really just like, you just you just go, wow, this is a brutal, horrible industry. You've got to be sharp and smart and own your stuff. Anyway, so thankfully I dusted myself off, and a friend, Danny Watson, who's a musical legend. He pulled me out of the. He made sure that I was keeping on, and he got me on this. It was like a private festival that Danny Goffey from Supergrass was doing. It was called Gostonbury, and it was in his garden. It was great, and there was me and Ed Harcourt and Asylums and Carl Barat from the Libertines, and it was Brett Anderson from Suede, and so it was a cool little lineup. And I met Ed there basically, Ed Harcourt, who has gone on to produce. Well, we became mates, and I started writing all these much more stripped back, observational, folky tunes like "Bless Our Generation" and stuff, and then I sent him a load of demos, and that was it. That was what became my first, second, and third album. The reinvention of me, really, and the musical rebirth.
Yeah, and there is. I mean, obviously, it's definitely all coming from you because it's your voice, and there's probably like similarities in the songwriting. But as you mentioned, the record that has just come out, Young Old Bloke, is probably a lot more rockier than some of the stuff that you've released before then. So I suppose is that just a bit of an odd feeling putting that out into the world while you maybe haven't necessarily gone in that direction? And then how have you been? Have you been putting the songs in your sets as well? And
it has been weird. Yeah, it has been weird. It's been cathartic to get it out. It's been, well, firstly, it's like it's interesting now for my fan base who know me from the 3 albums to see actually that it didn't start in 2020 and started a few years before. And
as it always does for most artists, you know.
Exactly. And that's it. It's like that's it. I see it as a prelude. It's a very important part of my life. It's the most special memories making that record. Admittedly, it has been like more difficult to be like in the moment about it, like enthusiastic, knowing that, because when you write a song and then you record it, and that is all of a sudden that's the best song you've ever written.
Best song in the world,
So I've kind of, it's been hard not having that feeling
because it's a decade old.
Exactly. I'm a different person, but it's a nostalgic, and it's quite a nice like book closing, like, right, okay, cool, I can move on with my life.
You can crack on, Oh, so that's interesting. So you think going forward, because I suppose it could be viewed as, oh, this is another side of me, and maybe I could do that, and you could do that kind of rockier stuff again. But you think the new music, the new record, whenever that might be, will be probably quite a different sound.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say too much, but I am writing my 5th album at the minute, and it is quite wet in terms of my ideas, and I think it's quite well positioned between like stripped back and full on. It's kind of finding the juxtaposition.
It's somewhere in the middle. Well, I like the sound of that, definitely. Let's hear a track from Young Old Bloke, as we've just been discussing it. So this is the excellently titled, although quite difficult to say, Tsunami of Suits.
Snakes and ladders in corporations taking over town with the gentrification. They get a coffee, then keep the receipt, looking down their noses as they walk the street. There's a tsunami of suits, then we kicked aside.
Smashing. So kind of moving a little bit away from the creative side to, well, I suppose we've discussed the dark side of the music industry or touched upon it. But in terms of, promoting this record, obviously you do have, you've got a fan base, you've got a bit of an engaged audience. How have you, gone about promoting, and how have you found it?
Well, I it's a tough one with social media stuff because I'm I use it more kind of impersonally. I think a lot of people nowadays they press play on the selfie camera and they speak at the camera and they spit. I'm just not that way inclined. I simply use socials just for advertising purposes, really.
Yeah, a mouthpiece. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like getting dragged into the whole scrolling world. It's a dangerous rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a vacuum, definitely, of time. Yeah.
I'm just super. I think I'm a bit old school in the sense that I just think that the main connection is just getting in front of people. So I just try and gig relentlessly, and I have been. I haven't stopped these certainly last couple of years. I've just been gigging as much as possible, and I think that's how I've managed to build up a tangible ticket purchasing fan base, really. People who are really invested in you and kind of know the person, shake your hand.
Yeah, I think it does make a difference because, obviously streaming has its place and is great for putting you potentially in front of. Yeah. But you're right. And I suppose that's how you met all those incredible people at the start, was just by doing 7 open mic nights a week. And then you're kind of continuing that ethos now. I suppose, double-barreled question, because I suppose, you are touring, you're London based, but you tour all over the UK and also Europe quite a lot recently. How have you found getting those gigs maybe outside of your home city and beyond? Because I think you do have a manager or some management now. Has that been a beneficial thing as well?
I have an agent now. I still self-manage.
Okay, excellent.
So it gets busy.
Yeah. Can imagine.
But for many years, I booked all my own tours and stuff. So I built up a lot of contacts. Right up. I booked European tours. I booked a few UK tours. So I kind of built up personal connections with a lot.
So again, you've kind of organically created this.
Yeah. And I used to just book the coach to Lille from Victoria, and then I'd coach it to Belgium and then Holland and Germany. I did so many random gigs in front of 20 people, 30 people, house gigs, you name it. Just being there in front of people and making CDs, selling them for €5 each, or I'm up and down Dale literally. So it comes with a cost of a lot of time. I think that if someone told you what you have to put into it at the start of your musical journey, you probably stop and go, yeah, I'm not down with that. Years, and there's no end to it. But yeah, that really has been, any hour that I wasn't making coffee or pulling pints was simply spent at a laptop hunting down email addresses and conjuring up, not. I think that's it. It's about not sending like a copy paste job.
Yes, yeah. Well, you kind of want to make it a little personal. Obviously, you can't go crazy because of the time restraints. But
and I think you're better off kind of just spending that little bit of time personalising and sending 20 of those out as opposed to 100 copy pasters,
Yeah, definitely.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, a personal touch goes very far in most things in life, in fairness. So
Literally.
and I suppose, yeah, one of the things is you put in all that time and effort, but it's not necessarily or at all the most lucrative of careers. I know you're in a more established place than kind of a lot of emerging artists, but then there's levels and levels and levels.
Mate.
Yeah.
Still plate spinning.
Yeah. So there's still the need to have other income streams as well as if you do earn from gigs or merchandise.
Yeah. I mean there are you have to think outside the box. There's a lot of ways you can make dough. You got to make sure that you're really, really organised with your housekeeping in terms of making sure all your PRS is registered, your PPL. You make sure you're registering all your gigs, and get creative with your shop. Like, have a good big cartel that obviously I do vinyl and stuff like that, but when I'm on the road I do like signed lyric sheets and stuff like that. And,
oh, nice. Yeah. Just a bit different. Yeah.
You can do, and people will buy it. And that's an absolute 100% profit margin.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've obviously got to make it pay. I mean, otherwise you soon burn out, and you've got to see able to do it, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, we had a few moments back we had the band Suds on, and obviously being called Suds, some of their merchandise was little bars of soap. I think people they want to engage with artists, so that's face to face, but then they do want to give back. So that might not be buying the vinyl, but it could be a t-shirt or a mug or who knows.
Absolutely.
What.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just about taking a piece of that moment home with you. No, when I go to a gig, I always, I always get a vinyl because it's just, I don't know, you want something.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I suppose as we're on the,
on the rare opportunity that I'll go to a gig, by the way.
Oh, you're always at gigs, but usually you're putting them on yourself.
Yeah, so exactly.
I mean, it kind of counts. We'll get to that later, definitely. But yeah, I think, you've dished out a lot of good advice in the last 10 minutes. But if there was, one piece of advice you'd give to maybe an emerging artist or an artist who wants to take it to the next level, what would that be? I know it's quite a broad question.
I'd probably reiterate some of the things I've just said about like being really organised, being super organised with your diary and the things that you always have in my diary, and it's always like it's
physical diary as well.
Tick it off, it's because you're so much more likely to do something if you have to tick it off.
Yes, that's very true.
You've got to follow it through. But plan your week, plan your day properly. Have proper objective. Okay, what do you need to do today? What do you need to do tomorrow? What, where do you want to get? You've got to have your long-term goals and your short-term goals, and the plan over the course of months and years. How are you going to get to that place, and the steps that you're going to take, and so organisation. And then in terms of administrative organisation, the song registering, the registering the gigs, because all these gigs, then a gig in front of 20 people is still going to be 50p on PRS. I mean, and then all of a sudden when you're doing the bigger stuff, and I'll give you an example. When I played at the London Palladium in PRS alone, that was worth quite a few £100.
Blimey, yeah.
So
I always forget about that side of it, yeah.
Make registering that. and they can backdate these gigs for, I think, 2 years. So
Oh, okay. That's
they
good to
go through your
know.
old diaries,
Yeah.
go through the old set list.
Oh, very
Um,
nice.
but yeah, that's it. Housekeeping. Be ambitious, but also don't be a fool and think that like you don't have to put the work in, because
It's not just kind of
you just got to
fall on your plate. Presumably be resilient because, great to be ambitious, but,
Yeah,
not all those goals are going to come
you're
true
gonna get
in your timeline that you think. They might come true later down the line.
yeah. But if you're at 10, well, 9 of those things are going to be a rejection, and the odd one is going to be an open door.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you go again and you try again. Yeah,
Push
definitely.
yourself off.
Yeah. And I think, playing live is clearly a key theme as well. And I suppose on that note, what was Glastonbury 2025 like? You played the Strummerville stage, the iconic
It was
Strummerville
excellent.
stage.
It was massive. I mean, it was really a huge gig for me. I mean, it was a sea of thousands of people, and it was like blockaded off. It was one in, one out. I won't take credit for that audience. I mean, a lot were there to see me, but Tom Walker was on straight after me. So
Oh, nice.
basically, a lot of them had come up to see him. But it was brilliant. I mean, it was like I supported him, basically. It was mad. I mean, it was thousands and thousands of people all singing along to everything, and magic memories.
Yeah, the pictures looked amazing from what I saw. And how do you find festivals in terms of reaching a new audience? Are they are they super beneficial because of potentially the large numbers that you might stumble upon you in a field?
This one certainly was.
They're
not all on that level.
Yeah, fair
obviously.
enough.
I mean, pretty much none are, but festivals are just great because, I mean, it's its own, music festivals are their own little kind of universe, behind a few gates. So you're always going to get good energy and people who are just there to be in the moment and listen to and discover stuff.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
it's always great to be on any festival bill. It's not easy to get on them, and it takes looking ahead at what's coming up in 12 months and sending out the initial emails and then getting told to write back a few months later and annoying them again, and it's
perseverance.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, let's listen to another track now. So we're going to listen to Matchsticks, which is from your 2023 record, Somewhere Anywhere. Here we go.
It's like I'm made of matchsticks, brittle boned, bitter with pain. I can't stand it, waiting it out just to slip away. It's like I'm made of matchsticks. It's like I'm made of matchsticks.
Back to the kind of creative sides of things a little bit. Again, quite a broad question, but when you sit down with your guitar or piano or synthesizer, whatever it might be, how do you approach songwriting? Is it lyrics first, melody after, or is it always a bit different?
It's always a bit different, but I do think that more often than not, I'm always kind of like, less so this year. I wouldn't say that I've had the most creative year so far, but I'm always kind of got lyrics on the go. You got your notebook, you got your diary, you got your phone, I'm always like, quick voice recording at the most awkward moment because you've got something that you need to go, right, that might be something. But I think that by and large, most things start with a chord progression. just to give a feeling, and then you just need that. You just need that line that will just spark an idea. I think, you know, it's like sometimes they just write themselves, right? You just kind of go, right, well, you didn't know what it was going to be, you didn't know what you intended, but then it will, yeah. Sometimes it comes together in 20 minutes, sometimes it's a 18-month work in progress, you know, in progress.
It's often, as you say, kind of a continuous process, and sometimes even though you've released a record, you might already have new songs for a new record. But as you kind of approached, okay, I have, you know, a new record in front of me in the future, did you know, because you kind of hinted at perhaps what a combination of sounds it is potentially going to be. Did you always know that was the case, or was it more of a, okay, well, I'll just see what kind of songs I write and then that will dictate the direction?
That was exactly it. Yeah. I mean, I had no real, for what's coming next. I mean, it's just gone with it, really. And, and I can't wait. I already can't wait.
Do we think 2026 is likely for a release?
Back end of 26.
Back end, okay. Yeah.
It's a push. That would be
at a push. Be, I suppose if you haven't started recording, then there's a lot to do.
But I would love to. I really want to get it out, and I really want to get another record out next year. So I will make sure that it happens.
That's the ambition, and it's good to have ambitions, as you have tours, definitely. Lovely. And then I suppose definitely for London-based artists, singer-songwriters, I'd be fairly confident that, you know, predominantly if you're looking for gigs, you would know about Bright Nights, which is your kind of set of gigs that you put on across the capital, which is, I think a fantastic way of giving back and supporting grassroots music. But can you tell us a little about why you started putting on these gigs and why supporting grassroots music is so important to you?
Well, started doing the nights kind of like about 6-7 years ago. When I was starting out, I just remember playing so many horrendous nights. Like I remember one of my first gigs, some awful promoter, I don't know, I can't remember what they were called, but they weren't a promoter, they were criminal, and they were trying to get me to buy the tickets that I'd not sold. So I'm sure lots of people have got stories like that. You can soon get put off by carrying on if you're not careful. So firstly, I wanted to create just like a creative community, really, like where you play a night that you would enjoy, you'd meet like-minded people, it's free entry, so there's no money involved. It's just like there's worse things to do on a Friday night than go and play some songs and have a pint and make some musical mates as well, you know. And I've seen so many like relationships bloom from the whole Bright Nights scene. So many people go and do gigs with each other and write with each other, and and that's it. And they're not in music venues per se. They're in like my favourite one is in the Carlton Tavern in Maida Vale, which is just a beautiful, my mate's beautiful pub basically. And we've got a nice listening room going on there now with 2 Fridays a month, and then we do the first Wednesday of every month in Davies in Greenwich. I'm doing a lot less nights now than I have done in the last few years. I was doing a weekly one on a Thursday, but sometimes a lot of time goes in. Sometimes the venue is just not the right fit. But now I think I'm just doing the 3 a month.
Okay.
Also,
which is still quite a lot on top of all your other gigs and other
but
work.
At least I'm like, that's manageable, and it's
yes, yeah.
I can be at most of them, and when they're happening, you know, good energy, put in not exhausted energy. So it's like, yeah.
No, yeah, they're really nice nights. And I think, as you say, it's about the music, but it's also about the vibe and just meeting new people. So,
Yeah,
which is,
I'd like to think that you yourself have maybe made some music connections out of them as well. And
oh yeah, lots of new people.
It.
So yeah, which
That's
is
great. That's what it's all
which
about.
is that, definitely. Well, talking of new music, finding other new music, we ask all our guests to recommend a song that perhaps is by an artist we might not have heard of or another emerging artist. So if you could introduce yours, that would be lovely.
Yeah, this one, I mean, I could have given you hundreds and hundreds of songs because, you know, we're on the topic of Bright Nights. No hundreds of unsigned brilliant acts, but slight bias one. I've chosen my very, very talented wife, Lila Shy, who is really amazing, and her debut album, which came out last year, this is a song called Homes, which, yeah, I really love this tune.
Excellent. Let's give it a spin.
One foot after the other to somewhere I'll discover. You're not lost if you don't know where you're going. As long as you're going, the blood keeps flowing. You're not lost if you don't know where you're going. As long as you're going, the blood keeps flowing. Home has no ceiling, home has no roots. Home has no secrets, home has no roots.
Alrighty. Well, thank you very much, Tom, for joining us today. But is there anything else, anything that we haven't touched upon that you'd like to mention, but also importantly, anything you'd like to plug or promote? I know you've got plenty of shows coming up in the autumn.
I am going to be touring the album Young Old Bloke in October, November. So yeah, loads of gigs starting on the 9th of October up in the northeast at the White Room Music Cafe in Stanley, and then the following night 45 Vinyl in York, and then Cafe 9 in Sheffield, which is sold out already.
Lovely. That's always nice to have on the poster, isn't it? Big sold out stamp.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then London date is Wednesday, the 29th of October, and it's at the Lower Third in Soho. So hopefully I see as many familiar faces as I can down there.
Yeah, definitely. No, I've been to like the bar section of the Lower Third, but I haven't actually been to a gig in there. So yeah, looking forward to that.
All right.
Definitely.
Hopefully see you there.
Yeah. Now the ticket is bought. I can.
Legend.
Smashing, excellent. And I presume if people want to find out about tours, music, merch, where's the best place for them to go?
I'm on all the socials, Tom Bright Music, and then my website, tombright.co.uk.
Lovely. Well, Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, you've got a fascinating musical journey, which I think lots of people will take valuable lessons on, and maybe remember not to trust everyone in the music industry in the case of your debut, not so debut record. Yeah. But no, it's been a pleasure, and best of luck with the tour in the autumn. Cheers, Tom.
Mate. Thanks so much.
Alrighty, that is your lot. Thank you very much for listening to New Sounds Union. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can drop us an email at newsoundsunion@gmail.com, or find us via the New Sounds Union Substack, or you could stop me on the street and buy me a coffee. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review if you're feeling extra generous. That would potentially be better than the coffee. Maybe. Anyway, this has been a Glow Bureau production. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.